And 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Am I like?
Am I supposed to scream?
I don't know. This is.
I didn't realize that.
I didn't ever. When I woke up 5 years ago, I never thought I'd have a Wichita celebrity sitting in my home office studio. Who is this guy?
Dan the Man. That's what they call me.
Dan the Man. Not just any man. The man.
I think every Dan is Dan the Man, but I embrace it.
Yeah, I've never been called Myke the Man. That's because some people don't even think I'm a man.
Doesn't
Doesn't rhyme.
rhyme. Myke the Bike.
Myke the Pansy. No, I'm joking. Hey, but we got Dan the Man live in the studio today. Real honor, real treat. Thanks for making it out on this beautiful Sunday, December after Christmas. For you guys who are wondering who is Dan the Man, Dan the Man captures the hilarity in everyday situations and experiences.
Hold on, what are we reading from? This is, hey, it's my bio. Hey, if you're a comedian, don't have a bio, that's what this is. It's a list of accomplishments, a way to describe you. Can I read it?
Go for it.
This just sounds great.
Read your bio.
Hey, Dan the Man captures the hilarity in everyday situations and experiences. He's a lifetime vagabond with Boston roots. Currently based out of the Midwest, his high-energy performances will take you from the mundane to the insane. He's appeared in venues like the Ambassador in St. Louis, the Comedy Parlor in Tulsa, the Looney Bin, as well as millions of hits virally. Dan the Man is a can't-miss act and described as fiercely funny by the Wichita Eagle.
Dan the Man's also not Tim Allen, but some could say he's like the Santa Claus.
Yeah, I do Santa Claus every year, almost every year.
That was a fun show.
Thank you. Yeah, he's referring to the Looney Bin Secret Santa show where I dress up as Santa and comedians come and have gifts and they open up gifts kind of like Secret Santa style. They pick a gift, open it up on stage. And I love playing Santa. It was really cool. Matter of fact, this year after the show, as cool as I thought the show was, I had left. I went to a bar up the street. I was outside drinking a beer on the patio and, having a cigarette. And this car like stops and mom comes out. She's like, hey, Santa, can you take some pictures of my kids?
Oh my
Little tiny kids. And I'm like, sure. I'm like, throw that cigarette and I walk over and the kids sit on my lap. I was like, what's up, kids? What do you want for, Christmas? They wanted money. I was like, listen, man, Santa ain't got no pockets. Okay, I'll see you in a couple of days. But that was really fun and touching and cool that kids' faces light up seeing you. So, I guess whatever you're portraying in public, I guess a good rule to make sure you're not, like, hey, screw you, kids. I'm not really Santa. Be a nice guy.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like you're like bad Santa. Have you seen that movie?
I have seen that movie, and I have played bad Santa since I own a Santa costume for Halloween a couple years ago.
Oh my gosh.
I had a flask with me full of booze, and I got way too wrecked, and I embraced the character to its fullest.
Wild. Yeah, that's probably my favorite Christmas movie. So I mean, Polar Express, but then like Bad Santa.
Yeah.
But we're probably going to spend a lot of time on comedy. But before we get to comedy, just a couple of questions, I guess.
Sure, hit me. I do comedy.
So Boston. I'm going to answer the question. Everyone thinks Boston. Everyone thinks the Patriots. Tom Brady, are you sad?
Tom Brady. That name sounds familiar. Oh, yeah. Am I sad? Listen, he is a great guy that's done amazing things for our area, and I don't think anyone would say they're – I mean, we wish he was there, but it's the time to move on, and he's being successful somewhere else. It sucks that my team, after 20 years, is now hitting a skid for a year. I mean, but, dude, that's still way better than most teams.
Yeah. And like someone who's like, I just like the game for the game. Once I realized I wasn't going to play college and high school, like my
It took you to high school to figure that out?
Yeah.
Well, that's good for you. Some people figure it out way later.
Sophomore year. But I've always appreciated the game for the game. And so there's people out there like, fuck the Patriots. I hate the Patriots. Patriots suck. It's like, you got to appreciate greatness when you're witnessing greatness. And that's something we can get from Tom Brady.
I thought you were going to say me. But yeah, Tom Brady too. He's also amazing and great. He is great. He's freaking fantastic. And a lot of people hate him, but that just happens when someone's successful for a long period of time. People go from being a fan, he's an underdog, to being like, you know, oh, he's overrated or whatever and stuff like that. It's understandable. If you're not from New England, probably most people, you know, when they won the first Super Bowl, it was 9/11 time period. So, I mean, so the name, the Patriots, and the fact that, you know, a plane was taken from Logan Airport near Boston and stuff like that. So people kind of rallied around the Patriots. It was an underdog team. He was a replacement quarterback, and they wind up winning the Super Bowl. It's a feel-good story. But after you win the first, the second, the third, the fourth, I mean, how many rings you going to put on before people get mad? I get it.
So if you're from Boston, like, how'd you end up in Wichita?
All right. I am from, let me set the record straight. I'm not from the city of Boston. Most people that live in the Boston area say they're from Boston just because people from far away, you know, they know where that is. I grew up in a small town just outside of Boston. And then when I was like 10, I moved to an even smaller town within an hour of Boston. I'm from the Boston area.
From the Boston
area. So I grew up like partially in Massachusetts, partly just over the border of New Hampshire, which is really, really close to Boston. And that's where I spent 25 of my total years in that area. What was the question? Just like
how'd you end up here?
I was in the Air Force, and I was like 20 years old. I joined the Air Force, and they give you a dream sheet. And like, where do you want to go? And I put down all East Coast bases, and then they handed me my assignment. Like, congratulations, you're going to Kansas. And I was like, better look up where that is exactly. Is that one of those square states? And they're like, it's more of a rectangle. And I was like, oh, okay. And I found it, and I got here, and I wound up having a kid here, and, you know, life happens, and I wound up making this the permanent home.
Permanent home.
Yeah. It's cheap to live here. I mean, Boston area, super expensive. I have a job. I could work anywhere, so working from here is beneficial to my pocket. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Smart man. Okay, so Air Force, right? I was reading, you know, we were talking a little earlier, and were you a prison guard in the Air Force?
I did a lot of things in the Air Force. I was, my official title was security police, and that embodies a lot of different things. It's riding around in cruisers and pulling people over. It is doing security for aircraft or nuclear weapons. It's doing all sorts of things that embody that sort of security of a base or weapon systems or planes and stuff like that.
Okay.
And yeah, I was for a period of time, I was a prison guard in the prison camp X-Ray in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
No, you were Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. So, like, I'm sure some people listening might be really big on the shows like Locked Up Raw, Jail, Locked Up Abroad. Can you give us one story that just, like, when you think of your prison guard experience that, like, always, like, comes back?
Yeah, so people probably most notably remember Guantanamo Bay prison camp is the place where terrorists were held for a period of time. And there were some atrocities when the Army was in charge of that operation, that they would do things to them and take pictures and kind of degrade them on a human level. I was there well before that, and this is when the mission there, the prison. So Castro emptied out a whole bunch of his prisons and let people go to save money, and people tried to escape to the United States to get like asylum. We would pick them up in the water, bring them back to the camps, both prison camp and family camps. Anyone that like committed a crime there, or was like someone that we knew was a known felon, a murderer, rapist, you know, all the bad people, came to the prison camp. And that's where the Air Force was at the time. Their mission was to be the guards of that camp. So the day-to-day operations, all that. It was outdoor camp. It's all fences, double fences, different sections and stuff like that. Specific stories about like what like happened in there, crazy stories, funny stories. I mean, it was not a cool place to be. I mean, you're guarding people. So these people, Cuba's a communist country. So it's a terrible place to live, and it's a horrible place to be in prison. So if these people that are in the prison camp like killed a prison guard, they would send them to a federal prison in the United States. So a federal prison in the United States is way better than just living in Cuba, never mind being in a jail there. And that's where they're headed, back to jail.
Oh, man.
So your mission day to day was not to get stabbed in the throat by a nail that they find on the ground or whatever. So
they just keep it in their hands and they come at you.
Well, I'll give you an example. So you got to transport these people from area to area inside of the prison camp. So you have to search them and all their belongings. So one day I was taking a guy from one area to the shower area, and he had his little trial size thing of shampoo with the cap on it, and he had a nail through the cap, and and had it down in there. So he thought, he would just hold it up and be like, oh yeah, I'm just wearing a pair of shorts, search me. And so like we're trained, we search everything they have, their bar soap, their flip flops, whatever. I open up his thing to look to see what's inside of it, and I pull it out and there's a nail, and I'm like, hey Pedro, I thought we were friends. Were you gonna stab me in the neck with this thing? And so yeah, things like that happen all the time. You find a blade in a flip flop, and it's like, how fucking people with a flip flop? Really? Is that, dude? Like, was this my day to, like, if I had an off day and I didn't search someone thoroughly, that would be a something you wind up, his ticket to the United States, like 3 meals a day, cable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, I mean, like most things, it's a mix of danger and fun, or, you're in the military, you're doing things, but you're also that camaraderie of the other people that are going through the same thing. And when you're off duty, it's fun. I mean, hell, you're in Cuba is in the Caribbean. So when you're not working, and doing stuff like that, you're out fishing or, swimming, snorkeling, and doing fun shit like that. And then when you're at work, work's work.
Sure. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, this is gonna be super awkward. Can I do a sound test real quick?
Yeah, have I not talked enough so far?
No, I was hearing this in here. Can you say something in here?
Yeah, do I get closer?
Yeah, get a little closer. That's
not where I'll be when I'm talking.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm like this the whole time, it'll be.
That works.
If I'm back here, is that too far away?
No,
I need to be closer.
That's good now.
I can scoot up. I'm sitting on what looks like a piano bench or something. It's the most uncomfortable thing ever. I take that back. It's the air that's 62 degrees in this house that's more uncomfortable.
It's a morgue.
Is this how you burn fat? Just like you don't turn the heat on?
Yeah, a little bit. No, I sleep better in the cold.
Oh yeah, well you sleep well then.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that doesn't people, the viewers and the audience don't see and stuff.
Can you see my breath?
Shitty benches. Okay. So cool. Thanks for sharing your Guantanamo Bay stories and stuff. I don't know. I never want to go to jail. Maybe like one day for life experience, just like some petty crime.
No, you don't.
Just one day. I wouldn't mind one day.
What happens in one day in jail? The first day is usually the roughest. You don't want to do that.
But yeah, maybe I won't. I don't know. I just think it would give me a little perspective in life.
I feel like my background, I was in the military for 10 years, so I feel like that shaped me. Like I was a kid that was probably in trouble a lot, and yeah, for sure. And the military gave me a lot of direction and focus and sort of discipline, I guess. So doing things or having those experiences where you have, when you're 20, you're just coming into that age where, you think you're right about everything, you know everything, and now you're suddenly in a chain of command structure that's like where you're the bottom fish in a, So I mean, working your way up through the ranks and learning, about respect and discipline and how to handle yourself as a person or finances or big responsibilities, things that I'm fucking delivering pizza, at 19 or whatever, and at 20 it's like you're doing it's like, oh, here's an M16 or here's a M60 and go make sure we don't get attacked or whatever.
No, I think most of us probably had big heads at around 19 or 20. Like I used to be cool, believe that or not. Like I one time had a social empire and I don't know, I fucking knew, I thought I had all the answers and whatnot, and then some life stuff happens, and then I almost get married, and then I realized after trying to rebuild that social empire, I wasn't like happy with it anymore. So I'm kind of like a nomad, like kind of introverted, kind of keep to myself. Now I cashed in that ticket. I said, that life ain't for me. But you, my friend, maybe it's just I'm not likable. I do not know. But this guy right here, okay, real quick, do you remember the first time we met?
The very first
time. I'll give you a clue where it was.
Was it at the porn store?
No.
Was it a church?
No.
I don't know.
There's that tea leaf place in that Best Buy shopping center.
The tea leaf place in the Best Buy. That's where we met.
Yeah, no, I met you at an open mic.
Oh, okay. And it was, Von Riker's old one over by Best Buy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that mic. That was, and I forget the name of that location. Eric Von Riker ran that. That was a really cool mic, and it was a very
Indian hip and
yeah. They had like I'll pronounce it wrong. Banh mi sandwiches.
Yeah.
I never eat one. I see them there. I'm like, I eat normal sandwiches.
yeah. Because I remember we had been I think we talked. I found you on, I think it was Wichita Comedy.
Yes.
There was an email, and so I guess anyone who wants to maybe has ever thought about comedy is in the local area, get a hold of, I guess, the scene.
Yeah. So Wichita Comedy is, that's our scene. That's, the Facebook page, the website. I own and run the website, and me and a few other people manage the Facebook page, which all those things are kind of almost really on hold right now. But typically, WichitaComedy.com is the calendar for all the shows and open mics that are in town. We haven't been doing anything with that site since the COVID stuff, just to, when that stuff's over, and then that stuff will kind of reboot and stuff. And the Wichita Comedy Facebook, it's a mix of shows coming up and funny posts and memes and stuff like that.
Yeah. But us Wichita people are strong.
Yeah, Wichita Comedy, as a scene, I've been really heavily involved in for, since the beginning. I kind of jumped in, and the person that was running the site before had moved away.
When was the beginning for you?
For me, 2015, March, it was the open mic at the Looney Bin was my current start. I did some comedy in high school. Like,
that's what your bio
talent
says.
shows. I did a few talent shows that like people are up there doing their, their guitar or their whatever. And I was the class clown. I was like, I'm gonna do stand-up comedy. And I did that a couple of years. I did it the first year, and matter of fact, the second year they asked me to do it and host the show. So that was like my first hosting gig as a senior in high school. And I'm calling up, different people to the stage, and man, please welcome to the stage.
Yeah.
So and so.
Yeah. Were you ever in the drama classes, or were you a thespian?
I wouldn't call me a thespian. I was an attempted athlete when I was young. I tried every single sport, and I was bad at all of them. I tried basketball. I tried soccer. I broke my foot. I tried wrestling. Matter of fact, wrestling, funny story, the quickest pin in Massachusetts history, my name is in the record books. Yep. I was 9th grade against Peter Gorham, Chelmsford High School. And suddenly, the match starts. Next thing I know, I hear the hand on the mat, pin. I look up, I see the time. They're announcing, and the fastest pin goes to Peter Gorham of Chelmsford High School against Dan Lane of, yeah. It's a state record, folks.
To lose in was that even a second?
The match started, and the next thing I heard was my head hit the mat, and I saw the lights on the ceiling, and then I heard the hand hit the mat, indicating that the match was over, and it all happened like that.
Were you thinking about a girl, or what you wanted for dinner?
So this is the first. This is
how do you lose that quick?
So
I had never elsewhere.
I had never wrestled before. I just started.
This is your first ever match.
I'm 6'4" and 120 pounds against the kid that was probably 5'8" and same weight, but big and wide, and a kid that had wrestled his whole life. I don't know what I'm doing, and all right, this is how it's gonna go, and I go in, he goes in, and next thing you know, I'm just down on the ground, and it's over. It was so humbling. It was like one of those things. It's like, maybe I'm not so good at this. I wasn't. I tried it for a season. It was not great. I tried everything for a season. It wasn't great. So one day, I'm walking down the halls after practice, and I'm looking into the rooms of all the the rooms after school, and they're filled with girls. There is the Students Against Drunk Driving Club. There is, all these different clubs or meetings are going. I'm like, these are packed with chicks. And I walk in one, it's like Greenpeace. I'm like, Greenpeace? What's that? I'm like, you need to give me a piece.
Yeah.
And, we're here about the earth and environment. You want to come join? 20 women, 2 dudes. Yep, sure do. I joined every one of those, and that's how I kind of moved from trying to impress girls with my athleticism to just being the funny guy it was way more natural to me to just be, a member of a group of people talking and chatting.
Yeah. I wish I went that route. Like I did football for 4 years, did me no good. But then I'll tell you a bad sports story.
Yeah.
So I did track senior year, right? This is it's like a 1-2 knockout, right? And I went to Northwood High. We're playing Woodbridge High. And so I came in last place most every hurdle match.
Right.
But the one time I had a chance to not come in last place was against my own teammate, and his name was Alex. I'm not going to say his last name. And he fell. He fell during the hurdles, and he got back up, and he was still able to beat me to get points and stuff. So I was that slow. And then my other event was pole vaulting, and all I had to do was clear, I think it was 8 feet to get a point, and I didn't clear 8 feet that match. And I remember it was tied. It was same score, and coach comes running on the bus because he's like, "Oh yeah, for sure, Alcaraz cleared 8 feet." And I'm sitting in the bus, and he's like, "Alcaraz, tell me you cleared 8 feet. Tell me you cleared 8 feet." And I'm like, "I didn't, coach. The pole was too stiff. The pole was too stiff." And he goes, "God damn it!" And he walks off the bus.
The pole is 12 feet long, so I mean, if you get to the height of the pole, you had it.
Yeah. And then I ran JV senior year for some events, and I got a medal running JV in the finals.
Nice.
That was cool. 3rd place. I did that.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. That was probably my biggest accomplishment.
That's cool. Having accomplished, whether it be physical or athletic or just, getting that win or getting that loss to make you kind of know what it takes, what, hard work, that I work hard enough, did what I put in equate to what I got out of it or whatnot. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you put everything in and you still kind of fall flat on your face, but that doesn't mean, don't keep doing or don't keep doing something.
That's kind of like comedy. I mean, in comedy, we face a lot of wins and losses, sometimes every week. More losses, baby. But okay, so what was it because to me, I feel like I'm always losing in comedy, maybe a couple wins here and there and stuff, but you've had quite success. Dan's actually the 2020 Wichita's funniest person. So that's
that is correct.
That's a mountain to climb.
I brought my crown here. Let me put this on. Yeah, I won Wichita's funniest person in 2020. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I didn't think I was going to win. I wanted to win. When I went last. When I saw the other acts ahead of me, it was I would see person after person was that was a winning friggin' act. Ugh. That was another winning act. I'm never going to win this. And so when I finally went up last, I was like, well, maybe I can be on the top 3 and be on stage. That would be cool. And I was like, I'll just go out there and do it. And I did it. And when the scores shook down at the end, they announced me as a winner. And matter of fact, when they said there was 3 of us on stage, they have the top 3. And usually they announce the 3rd place winner. And then it comes down to the final 2, and there's some drama and build up. They said there's a tie between 2nd and 3rd. And I looked over to Randy Rowley, and knowing that the 3rd guy, Taifu Panda, did great. Mm-hmm. And I just was like, he probably won. And I looked at Randy, I was like, we're 2nd and 3rd. I guess we'll do this next year. Mm-hmm. And then they announced my name, and I just was blown away. I was super ecstatic. Yeah.
Yeah. One day, guys, just listening, we can dream like that.
Yeah.
Everyone gets their moment.
It takes one good night.
That's what Aaron Hahn was saying last week. One
good night, lightning in a bottle, the crowd just feeling you. Sometimes it's a lot less to do with you and your comedy and more to do with your comfortability up there and stuff. Sometimes it's where you go in the lineup. If you go first, it's hard to get a good high score out of the judges typically, because they don't know what the benchmark is. They just know that you went up there and you could have been the best all night, but they're like, I don't know, we'll give them 3/4 of a full score. Maybe someone will be better. I got the advantage of going last, and that kind of, at least at that point, the judges know, all right, we've seen everyone. Is he funnier than everyone else or not? And can rate those accordingly. Yeah.
Because isn't there I forget who was showing me, but there's a scorecard and there's a couple of different categories how they break down the whole comedy act. And so sometimes it's not just being funny and creative. There's a couple other
well, comedy is super subjective. Anyone can watch the you put 5 people in a room to watch the same comic, and those people might be like, that was the funniest guy ever. And the next person might be like, it was okay. It wasn't my cup of tea. So in order to take the sort of whether you like the deal or not out of it, comedy competitions generally have categories: creativity, originality, audience response, and all these, how long you go, your time, you keep within your time, and all those things are judged in factors with the point system, and they factor in all those points. At the end, they have a score. They take that score from 4 different judges, add them all up, and the highest person wins, which is I think a good way to do it. It's hard to just be like, hey, pick a winner out of 10, and then you got to think back to the first guy. Was he funnier than the other guy? So, I mean, having those scores is good, and it shows you what to improve on. If they're like, hey, you did great on this, but your delivery was bad. You got ones on delivery. It's like, oh, I need to deliver my jokes better, or whatever.
Yeah. Is there a category called likability? Or it was like stage presence?
Stage presence. It changes year to year.
Okay.
And this year, they had similar. I think they had creativity and originality last year, which is kind of the same thing. I think this year they kind of combined that into one. But they're always tinkering with the formula in some way, shape, or form.
To those starting out in like a comedy journey or career, because I get asked this question sometimes, would you focus more on innovation or just mastering your first like 5 minutes?
Everyone's got their own way and their own path, and probably one thing that would work for one person wouldn't work for another. I think a good rule of thumb when it comes to comedy is learn how to tell a joke. Like what is the setup and punchline? Read a book on how to do comedy. Lots of people can go up there with their likability. I'm one of those people that like, you're likable or whatever. I'm likable, but if
I'm not,
if your likability will run out if you're not telling good jokes. Some people might struggle with the audience liking them. Maybe they just have a weird persona that it's like, oh, he writes good jokes, but he kind of seems like a douche, I think learning how to write, learning how to tell a joke, what is your basic structure is really good when you're starting out. I think that's
focus focus on the science, the structure.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's a good place to start. And depending on what your inherent abilities are, maybe you have a theater background. You're like, man, I really know how to talk to an audience or command a stage or know where to stand or how to hold a microphone. Maybe someone else has a background in writing and they can write really well, but they got the microphone way out here and people can't hear them. They're turning their back to the audience or doing things that might interfere with the audience getting the joke or whatever. Maybe they're too dirty, or maybe they're, there's so many factors that can affect how the jokes come. But if you're starting out, I think a very good rule of thumb is to just kind of start with learning how to do the basics of what you're doing. What do they call that? The fundamentals.
The fundamentals. That makes sense. Do you remember the first joke you ever wrote?
No, I don't. I mean, I was always joking around and being funny. I remember I was junior in high school when I first did comedy, and I had a 5-minute set that was a mix of random jokes. There was a joke about how raisins were discovered. Like, what did a guy drop a grape in the couch, and like 6 months later he finds it and he's like, oh, I dropped a grape down here and now it's a raisin, and he pops it in his mouth, whatever. It's just a mix of observational things.
That's a commercial right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. California raisins.
Yeah. Speaking of commercials, do you want to tell them? Like, not too many people probably put this on their life resume.
I do a little. Being a comedian or being in the public eye or having friends in various areas sometimes leads to opportunities. I've had opportunities to do short films or opportunities to do various things. I was approached. There was a Super Bowl commercial being filmed, or I should say a commercial that would air during the Super Bowl. It was a regional commercial, so it wasn't aired nationally. It was aired in the Kansas area for a car dealership. It was going to be aired during the Super Bowl, and the lady that was producing it was like, hey, you'd be great. would you be willing to be in this commercial? And I was like, hell to the yes. And so I said yes. I performed. I made the cut for the final video commercial. And during the Super Bowl, it aired. My phone blew up. People were like, man, that was you, dude! I just saw you. It was the Super Bowl. So yeah, I was it's the easy way of saying it. I was in a Super Bowl commercial, I guess.
Like for me, like I think that like I'll just break it down, I guess, like this. How many like weeks of groceries did you get paid?
Oh man, money is the worst thing to talk about. There is no.
Well, because they pay millions of dollars for a commercial, so like they have to pay the actor
for a nationally aired commercial. What do they charge for one that's going to be shown to, 1 million people in Kansas, whatever? I don't know what they charge. That's not my side of the business, and I don't really care. But nothing is going to, like, money. They're not going to pay me the kind of money where I'm like, it was fucking incredible. The experience of being able to be in it and open up YouTube and look it up and be like, hey, that's me, man.
Yeah.
Is way cooler.
For sure.
Way cooler than any of that.
For
man,
sure.
all those things. Just having a bit part in a film that gets shown at Tallgrass on the big screen at a theater, or performing at like the Crown Uptown, or seeing your face at the Starlight Drive-In on that giant ass screen.
You've been on all those screens?
Absolutely, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's those moments I wouldn't trade for money, man.
Sure.
Keep your damn money.
Yeah.
Those things are the best.
Hell yeah.
Do you want to see the commercial?
Yeah, let's show the commercial.
Let's bring it up.
All right, guys.
If you're listening on just audio, you're gonna miss out on this, because this is a very visual commercial. You should check out the what do you call it? The live feed, the video. Yeah, blow that up big. Yeah, let's watch this.
All right, so
this is Eddie's Toyota.
Oh my.
That's me. I got moves, huh?
You got moves.
So that is your
one more time,
Eddie's,
just first couple of seconds.
Yes. I'm wearing a Dan the Man shirt.
Pretty catchy too.
It's the Teach Me How to Dougie song. It was big at the time.
Yeah.
Teach Me How to Dougie. I guess they bought the rights or whatever to Teach Me How to Eddie.
Hell yeah.
It's great to just flip through like a sports center one day and you see yourself on the, oh, hey, look at me.
Damn. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How does someone get like plugged into like the film aspect in the community and stuff? Do you do like, isn't there a, what is it? Like drama groups, trope class groups?
So,
sorry, I got it.
Oh, the next YouTube clip is coming up?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get rid of that.
Yeah. Blooper.
I was not in that commercial.
And we're back.
So, it's all who you know. With most things in life, whether it be business or comedy, it's making connections, authentic connections with people.
Sure.
People will see you perform. You talk to people after the show. You be a nice guy. They invite you, or you volunteer to do something. Hey, there's a film race going on. Hey, I'd love to help out however I can. If you approach someone with, hey man, I want to be the star of this thing, that's not the way to go about it. Like, hey, can I, I make food. Can I like cater your thing and make food and make sure everyone's got water, do stuff like that, and just volunteer, do stuff. If you want to do something more than that, they'll generally find something for you to do. The next thing you're doing is like, hey, food's over. Do you mind holding this microphone over here? And maybe you throw an idea out or whatever. And next thing you know, it's like, hey, we need extra people to sit in the background of this scene. And you're the guy in the background. You're really doing it. Like, yeah, there's something going on.
Yeah.
And that just kind of builds, So, I mean,
heck yeah.
Making connections with people that be friendships or professional that are in those sorts of things. And a lot of it sometimes is just luck. You got a friend and you're chit-chatting. It's like, oh, this guy, and you're talking and you're like really cool. And then they're like, oh yeah, he's kind of a big deal. He's, he in town, he makes films. Oh, you make films, and that kind of can blossom in other things.
Yeah, network and
Yeah.
connect and stuff with that. Because my dream is just to be an extra one day.
Yeah,
If I ever directed like something big, I don't want to be a main character. I just want to have a moment where I just walk right there in the background.
You want to be Stan Lee?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that seems like what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to be Stan Lee. Just have like 3 seconds, and that's it. No spotlight.
Most of my things have been fairly, like short films are short. They're generally like 5 or 10 minutes. So, I mean, you're not getting a ton of screen time. You might have a line or two. And other times I've had, a few lines or a few scenes or whatnot. And those things are great. You're in a 5-minute thing. It's a credit. You can, like we were talking about, your bio, you list the credits and stuff. So what I read before was like kind of what about, but your bio is like, what is it? Runs the Wichita comedy website, was in a Super Bowl commercial on CBS, in 2016, performed in the Kansas City Comedy Festival, was a performer in Tallgrass Film Festival, short film, blankety blank. I mean, all these things, you do these things little by little. When you do them, you put them down. So when you're trying to sell yourself to a bar, hey, I'm a comedian, I would like to do a show at your bar. Well, who are you? Well, here's a clip of me, you can watch me. Here's a list of accomplishments and things I've done. And I want like a resume. Some of these things might sound more impressive to like a guy that doesn't know anything about comedy, just running a bar.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, this sounds amazing.
Just trying to survive in this bar.
It's like, well, how hard was it to, be interviewed by the Wichita Eagle and, get a quote or whatever. It was like, it was luck. They did a segment on comedy in Wichita, and you get your photo in the paper and they get a bio of you there. And now you have something to show someone. It's like, oh yeah, I'm somebody, hire me. You build on that and build on that and build on that.
With comedy sets, because people like you say comedy, like people you say, how do you respond to this when someone goes, you start talking about comedy, like, oh, you do comedy, like tell me a joke?
That is, every comedian struggles with that because everyone says that to every comedian. And probably the typical, like what they call hacky response to that is like, well, I don't come to your job and ask you to, whatever, or that, I don't tell you to come, oh, you're a stripper, why don't you come dance on my lap? It's one of those things that people will do, and you'll never get people to not do that. I like to tell people to be humble in almost any situation is the best way to do it. You say something like, I am funnier in real life, or, something like that. Or, hey man, I'm not giving away these jokes for free. You got to pay $3 whole to come see me next week at, Barleycorns, or whatever.
Cause I don't do, when people go tell you a joke, it's like, all right, you want like PG-13. Or I used to go like that, but I'm like, no, like I'm more just like, hey, like I can send you a video. That's what I want to get to, where I can send you a video. It's easier to just do that than because like when there's like, if you tell someone one-on-one a joke, you don't have that audience response. It's completely different.
No joke is going to impress somebody like that. I mean, you're going to be telling a street joke, like little Timmy and little Bobby did this, or a horse walked into a bar, or here was something really racist. I mean, what are you going to tell?
The darkest thing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, none of those situations is going to result in someone be like, hell, you're a hell of a good comedian. I mean, that's not how jokes work. Anytime comedy is a surprise, like how many times, like you're at a party and someone, or at a whatever, and like, oh, there's a comedian here. Hey, why don't you do a quick 5 minutes in front of, 40, 10 people that didn't know there was going to be comedy going on. It's like, oh yeah, this is going to be super successful.
Yeah.
If you want people to laugh, you have them come to a show where they know comedy will be happening, where they've maybe paid some money because now they're invested, and you set the things up like that so that now they want to be entertained. They want to laugh. Where you just show up in a bar and no one knew that it was going to be comedy night, they're going to be like, well, this is Thursday. Or we drink beer and play darts. What do you mean we got to be quiet now? I like to listen to Def Leppard. That's that's a part of promoting a show and making sure that the people there know what they're getting into.
That's like so people they kind of prime themselves to
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's why so many places have 5-star reviews that are probably not that great. But if you go to a place and you to eat, for example, and you have food and you have a decent experience and you're going to write a review, like you almost want to make it sound good. Like, oh man, this was a great burger and a great fries. And my person was great. And, and 5 stars. Or it goes the opposite way. It was like, that wasn't good. 1 star. It kind of seems like most reviews fall into the extremes and stuff like that. So same thing with comedy. You want them to know coming in that it's comedy. They're going to be expecting it. They're going to want to laugh, and they'll have a good sort of, pre sort of disposition to being like, this is comedy. It's going to be funny. They've got that in their brain. If you just surprise it on them and you're interrupting them, you're going to have to be hella friggin' funny to overcome the fact that you're disrupting whatever they were expecting.
Yeah, like, even if you get, like, so I heard that, I'm not going to mention comic's name or whatnot.
Why not?
I'm not like
you
that.
You think people don't know who we're talking about? Name drop.
But let's just say, even if you're performing comedy and you're getting death faces from people that aren't, like, expecting comedy, like, I think just don't be like, this is where you guys are supposed to laugh right now, or like, why aren't you guys laughing?
Everyone handles it differently. Sometimes someone with a ton of charm and charisma can get away with that or make light of it or then make a connection through that. Like, hey, I don't think this is funny either, but, I'm here, but,
recovery.
Other people do that and will blame the audience on it not being funny. Like, first of all, that's your job. That's what you're either getting paid or not getting paid to do. Be funnier, be better. Maybe no matter how you are in a bad room, it's going to be difficult or impossible to overcome that. And you do your best. You try to connect. If people aren't paying attention, there's so many things you can do to help reel them in.
Yeah.
If you start to get really quiet and you talk lower, suddenly the whole room is going to get quieter. That. The whole room will get quieter. If you're trying to shout over them, they're going to shout. They're going to be louder. Your background noise. You start to bring it down. Bring it down.
I'm just going to
wait. You get their attention. Now they're like quieter. People are listening. They might be more cognizant of what their voice is as they start to escalate in voice. Like, oh yeah, I guess I was pretty loud, or interacting with someone and, a group of people are at a table are talking a little too much and you're just bringing them into the set. Like, hey, you guys married over here? You've been married? How long? And you start to interact with them. They're like, okay, I guess, we're reminded there's a show going on. I should probably be more paying attention.
Like 2 guys and a girl sitting there. So you the cuckold?
No,
I'm kidding.
You really like that. Did you learn that word recently? You're like, I'm going to use this everywhere. Yeah. Well, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I think I talk a lot with comics. I do a lot of sort of coaching, mentoring, or talking, or being a friend, or just like shooting the shit about comedy.
You're a good
stuff.
friend. You're a good friend.
I think that you have a room full of people. They're going to be very diverse in age, background, and stuff. Giving them something that the masses can, that more people than not are going to either understand, be familiar with, or think is funny, is a good way of going about things. If you're like, I'm going to talk about cuckolding. If you don't know what that is, it might not make sense. It's not going to be funny. It's like when sometimes people will talk about something obscure. Hey, an obscure video game reference, or there's a cartoon called blankety blank, and this is something funny. That might be funny to 10% of the audience, 20, whatever, depending on what your makeup is. But still, it's not going to be hitting. Like, if you're talking about Star Wars, everyone at least knows what the hell Star Wars is, okay? So that would be something, if you're talking about movies, using a wide, broad example that everyone gets. When people feel excluded, like they're not part of the joke, they'll start to tune out, and they'll be like, that's not funny. You get a quiet thing, and then it's like, okay, now I got to recover from that, Keeping that ball rolling in comedy is super important. Once you come out with that funny thing, build. If you start to go backwards, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Find where that error is in your set and get that out, fix that joke, take it out so that you're constantly building.
Within a set, how spaced apart, I guess, like second-wise, would you recommend you need to drop a bit that's funny or humorous? Say, every 30 seconds, every 20 seconds?
People,
before you lose them.
If you get really into the technical side of comedy, there's something called like laughs per minute. You want to increase your laughs per minute, and you don't want to go too long without getting laughs. So, for example, if you're telling a joke that has a very long buildup and you're setting up for a minute and then the laugh at the end, even if it's a big laugh, you're gone too long. You want to be able to break that up into some smaller jokes where it's like, here's part of a joke and here's something humorous, laugh. And here's a little more, it's building up, something humorous, and then you hit your big bang, maybe throw a few more punchlines at the end.
Yeah.
So just as a general rule, keeping the laughs going without, so many words that people are taking a drink and talking. You want to keep them involved. It's always good to keep that going. It's always good to have a little call back, a little reference, whether it's within the same joke or it's later on in the set, because now the audience feels like they are on the in of an inside joke. It's like, oh yeah, you did the beer can thing. Get it, beer can? Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah, I remember. I heard that earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's again keeping the audience like engaged and involved.
Yeah, because like as comics, I guess I'm probably speaking on maybe a lot of people, not so much because you've had success and fame and whatnot. But there is times where we've like bombed. You'd have a set where it's like, dang, that was like a rough set, and sometimes it's just the audience not digging what you're saying. Maybe they're not, they can't relate to it, or maybe it's just the crowd, or there's not a lot of people there. But what is one recovery your go-to like recovery when you're like it was just a bad set, like you have something you say and that kind of gets some laughs in the end?
Well, I think like an open mic scenario, like an easy thing to go to would be like, well, I guess I scratched that joke off the list, and you're looking for your pencil or your pen, like I guess that doesn't work, or that was funnier in my garage when I was practicing it. I mean, that's a good thing. Hopefully you're not going to be, if you're doing a show where you're, paid or invited to do a certain length of time, you're going to be bombing. You might bomb a joke, or it might not hit a room the right way. I remember early in comedy, we got booked to do a what I call a retirement home. What they called it was a what do you call a golf club where people go and golf and it's a private club? What do they call that? A
golf membership?
Yeah, but it's like hold on, I got this. It was a private club. It was like a golf course, a country club. So they hired us to do a country club, and so we had done some research. We asked the people what the makeup of the crowd would be, male, female, age, and stuff like that. So we had a good idea going in that this was going to be like around 50, 55-year-old people. Now we're all generally inexperienced comics, maybe doing it 1, 2, 3 years between all of us. Individually 1, 2, 3, and we get there. And it turns out that the age is more like 75 years old, which is one, a huge difference.
Big difference.
And two, like when you're an inexperienced comics, your joke sets only go so deep, like you got 10 minutes, that's your 10 minutes, this is your good 10 minutes, you don't have old people jokes or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, we go there and it was, we may have delivered our jokes well, we may have written our jokes well, but if the audience is in an age bracket where it's like, I'm not really into dick jokes.
Yeah.
You might have done all the things right leading up to that, but once you get there and realize that your audience is going to be different, having the flexibility to change that up. And at that point, I certainly didn't have it. I delivered my, 10 minutes of.
You just went with what you had?
I went with what I had. I would joke around. It was humorous. It was probably been a lot funnier to maybe 30-year-olds, but that's just what happens. You take your lumps, you learn. I mean, those are all experiences you learn from. Your success, you learn way more from failures than success. I mean, that's pretty common. And that was one of those times. It was a definite learning experience for me. We got paid great, which was awesome. But
it's not about the money. Remember,
we never got invited back. That's for sure.
It's about the experiences, not the money.
We got paid good. The experience was invaluable for sure. I mean, I think about that show quite a bit, just because when you bring people onto shows, telling people, one, doing a lot of research on what your makeup of the crowd will be, or going in ahead of time, making sure your lighting, your sound, the room is set up, the tables are facing the right way. Sometimes you go in a place that's hired you to do comedy, they've got circular tables where half the people are facing the other way, or booths. It's like, I'm supposed to perform to the backs of people. So going in ahead of time and getting these things structured and set up so that you have more, you're more apt to have a successful show.
You're prepared for yourself, and then you're also prepared of like the setting and the scene, so you can get the most receptiveness.
Yep. There's a lot. There's more than just writing the jokes. It's like when you started doing an open mic recently. It's a lot of times people think running an open mic is going up between the comics and saying something. That is the least amount of what it takes to run an open mic. It's so much more. It's, the getting people there, the inviting people, the signups, the being nice and cordial to people that show up and maybe want to try it, or even just the people that are there to watch. You never know if they're going to want to do it later. So many factors. Like I said, the lights, the sound, the cleaning up, the being nice to the staff. I can't stress enough, being nice to the staff of wherever you're at. Those are the people that are going to be reporting to the people hiring you. Hey, how did the show go last night? Did the people like them? Were they cool? Did they drink a drink tab that was ridiculously expensive? Did they, clean up after themselves? Did they, leave a huge mess? Making sure you put a good impression on the bar staff and the people working and being nice to them. Super, super, super important. And that'll get you invited back for sure.
Yeah. No, I started a mic at Little Buster's here in Derby, and that's one thing I've known is like take care of the bar. Show you're appreciative of the bar while trying to get something up. And we have like momentum now going with that mic, so that's good. Still learning new things every show. But yeah, Little Buster's, third Tuesday, once a month.
You've probably heard me before shows or things say something like, "Hey, how many people knew there was a comedy show tonight?" And you'll get, I do that. That's a good gauge.
Feedback.
Yeah, feedback. If everyone's like, yeah, if you get like 2 claps and everyone's like, oh, I just came here for it's pork chop night.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what do I need to do differently so the pork chop crowd knows that there's going to be comedy, so that gets set up.
I'm pork chop from Doug.
Yeah.
But going back to I guess when you're bombing a set, I've had this one that it says like no laughs, no laughs, no laughs, and I say this joke. This one's always like got some laughs and stuff. It's like, well, I understand all these jokes were a tragedy and needed a moment of silence. And then after about like 3 seconds, people start laughing because it's like a moment of silence for the bad jokes, and that's always been like my little.
Yeah.
Where you could give them something. I gave them nothing. Let me give them a little something. And
I think anytime. I think a good strategy is to, the self-deprecating type humor. Like,
do you like self-deprecating? That's a topic. Some people love it or some people hate it.
Well, so here's my take on it. A lot of comics will get up on stage and a common opener will be something about yourself to introduce yourself and kind of tease yourself, because mostly the audience is going to be laughing at you or laughing with you, and you don't want to look or seem or come across as better than them. You don't want the audience to be like, to judge you as like, oh, he's some big time hotshot. It'll make me laugh. So if you go up there, it's
arms
like
crossed front row.
So if you go up there and you open up with something that maybe they're thinking. I walk up on stage, they see me, they see the bald head, they see the tall, they see the whatever. It's like, yeah, I'm a cross between a stick man and, bald guy. You make these jokes, and that something that they're thinking, and they're like, oh yeah, he does kind of look like a cross between a this and a that, and they laugh and they're like, yeah, I was kind of thinking that as soon as you walked up there, he's a big tall Q-tip or whatever. And so they're like, now they're like, oh yeah, that's funny. I was kind of thinking that he looks like an idiot. So I mean, it doesn't have to be too self-deprecating. It can be, because everyone looks at people and judges people by their looks and stuff. Like obviously when we look at you, the very first thing we think of is
terrorist.
That's right. You go up there with a good terrorist joke.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, listen, I didn't blow anything up this week.
Yeah.
Hey, hashtag Nashville. Like it wasn't me.
Do you remember the loony bin joke I used to do, the terrorist loony bin joke?
Yeah, you just did it like very recently.
Well, no, it used to be like when I moved to Wichita.
And you did Wichita's Funniest Person contest like 2 weeks ago.
No, this is an older one. So when I was moving to Wichita, I found out it was loony bin.
Uh-huh.
First thing that came in my mind was when I perform at the loony bin for the first time, I'm going to say a joke about the loony bin being the loony bin Laden.
Play on words joke. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Loony bin Laden. If you can make that work, I mean, if you can tie that together with other stuff, if you're just saying like, hey,
I'm at the Looney Bin Laden.
yeah, they would be like, okay, we get that word has that word in common, but how are you going to tie that together to make it funny? Like, oh, they wouldn't let us in here. The guy at the front desk was a real terrorist. I was like, what is this, the Looney Bin Laden? I mean, that's how you tie that in. You use it in context or whatever.
Yeah, but terrorist jokes are fun.
You can have that one. It's bad, but it's free.
Yeah.
But that's the example of how you tie a word play joke in.
Did you like the recent terrorist joke I did?
Give me a quick give the intro, because I know I heard it. Start it.
So it'd be like, what would like the worst terrorist attack on American soil be that hasn't happened yet? It'd be if a Pfizer truck got T-boned on its way to drop off vaccines. And the the driver, blah, 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 blah. The driver was texting. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll give you. You want
some
breakdown?
Yeah.
So this is what I thought of when I heard that joke. Worst terrorist thing to happen. Okay, we've had some very bad terrorist things happen. Very bad. So is a car accident that terrible? No. Okay, hold on. T-boning sounds like a car accident in less of a terrorist attack. When you say a Pfizer truck, I think at least mine, or maybe even most people, Pfizer is probably associated with Viagra more than it is the vaccine. And you're talking about the vaccine. Pfizer makes the vaccine for COVID. So if you're trying to tie that in with a COVID, because they make COVID, my mind went to, oh, what, we can't get hard-ons anymore?
Oh my God.
So you might be leading them astray there. So if you say if a vaccine truck got hit, now everyone knows what you're talking about. If you say a Pfizer truck gets hit, now we have to stop thinking about what you're saying and figure out what you're talking about, and people can lose steam there. So there's a few ways to fix jokes that aren't working or make jokes better that are working, and to hear someone else's take on what they were thinking. If you're just listening to people laughing and you're like, hey, people laughed, that could be for a lot of reasons.
Yeah,
or it's part
of the erectile dysfunction.
Yeah. So I mean, asking someone one-on-one, another comedian or an audience member, hey, what did you think of this joke? What were you thinking of when I said this joke? Do you like this joke? Was there any part that didn't make sense to you? And that way, reworking it. And jokes, some people say, well, like, never going to tell that joke again. I have jokes that I'll go back through in my joke book, and I wasn't good enough at the time to fix a joke. I did something and had a funny premise, but I never really had that good lead in or a good, like, 2 or 3 punches, to the joke. And you go back to that later and you have new life experiences, or you're more experienced at comedy, and then you can fix that joke. Or even just, a joke that you write now, sitting down for the next month and really working it at different open mics, asking different comics for ideas.
Recognizing that community outreach, it's important to ask for feedback from time. I don't think a lot of people do that. I didn't really start doing that till recently. I'm a trash comic, just hosting a podcast, but
I think a great way to get, so say the Wichita scene, for example, right? I would say that for the most part, people doing comedy here are relatively inexperienced. Even people who are doing it 5, 6, 7 years or whatever. I mean, that's still, you're just doing it on a local level.
Yeah.
Especially people that are doing it 1, 2, 3 years. The Looney Bin has comics every single week that are at the next level. Okay, that level up from where you're at if you're trying to, progress in comedy. So watching what the host of the comedy show at the professional comedy club in your town is doing. How are they interacting with the audience? How are they setting up the next guy? What are they doing? Because those are things you should be emulating to get to that next level. And watching those comics, because they're touring comics. If that's what you want to do, is tour different cities and do comedy week after week in different towns, seeing what they're doing and trying to get to that. If you're watching Anthony Jeselnik on his Netflix special, well, you're missing a whole bunch of steps. If you start doing that, yeah, I mean, maybe some crazy circumstances would happen when you get discovered, but most things in life is work, and it's perfecting what you're doing and getting to the next level, and working on what you've got and what you're doing, and seeing what the people above you are doing and trying to do their job.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. So yeah, just watching out for, I guess, feedback in so many different directions. It's not just the innovation and creativity side. It's like, it's I don't know, I guess it kind of takes an army.
With COVID, it's a little bit different. I mean, when I was doing comedy 1, 2, 3, 4 years, it was the scene, like when you started, you went to Eric's open mic there at that fucking Bubble Lounge, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that was set up where
it was a workshop.
There was a workshop. People had little notebooks that he would pass out. You would write down little comments. You would swap them around. Hey, that was a great joke. If you added this to the end, that would be good, extra punchline, a good tag. Or we'd get together and do writing groups and stuff because that's, what was done. And COVID this last year has been weird. It just hasn't happened. We haven't, as a group done that. And it's something we've historically always done. And it's almost, when I came into the scene, it was almost like second nature to me because people were already doing it. And I felt like that was, that's just what we all do. We help each other out,
Mm-hmm.
And probably something that needs to be, either pushed or put out there, or I'm like, hey, while we got this downtime, we might as well be getting better. I think a lot of the comics are like, I'm not performing now. I'm going to go live my life and do my thing, and I'll figure out comedy when, people are done dying or whatever, So there's probably some different takes on that. If I had more time, I probably would be, pushing the get-togethers more often and stuff like that. But, there's not a lot of outlet to do comedy right now.
Yeah. No, there was,
unfortunately.
There was a momentum. There was some momentum and stuff, and a lot of big shows.
Big shows. Bringing people like Doug Stanhope to town. Bringing people like from Saturday Night Live, Brooks Wheelan to town. Bringing professional comedians. I'm not talking about the Looney, I'm talking about Wichita comedy. Like reaching out to, booking, setting up a show of a name, and people coming out and paying money and having a successful show when things were the good times.
Let the good times roll.
And now people just for the most part they aren't doing that.
It's more like I want to just escape for a couple hours, just show up to like a just for like little.
I mean, venues aren't doing venues aren't booking people, and comics aren't traveling, so to hit someone up and be like, hey, do you mind traveling from California to Wichita to do a show? Like, no, I don't want to catch your Midwest disease.
Well, where do you, I like asking this question, like, where do you see yourself comedy-wise in the next 5 years, and where do you see Wichita comedy in the next 5 years?
Oh, great question. I tell people often when they say, hey, what do you want to do in comedy? You want to like have a Netflix special? Do you want to be on like TV? I'm like, if I can perform comedy and not get fired from my job, I have been a successful comedian. I don't do comedy and make money, like money, not paying rent money. I get beer money. I have spending money. You make a few $100 here and there. If I can not say something so stupid that it like embarrasses an employer or you can't work here, that's what I think is a success. Would it be great if I was discovered by someone that happened to be at the Looney Bin and was like, you're great, would you tour with me? You kind of got my vibe.
We're leaving tomorrow.
I do a big tour and I need an opener. And, all the comics I've seen and all my experiences in the 20 years I've been doing comedy,
all my days.
You, 2-year comic, are awesome. Will you come with me? Yeah, that would be great. Is that going to happen? Probably not. You and I probably have to have a lot more of your get up and go and motivation to, be working all the clubs, to be traveling, to doing those things and work your way up to something that happens. I'm not going to fall backwards probably into something that's going to take me next level into comedy, which is fine with me because that's not where I'm looking to go with comedy. Mm-hmm. I kind of think it more of like a garage band where, these bands are playing local bars. They're like, I'm into bluegrass music. I play bluegrass music. I do it around town. I get paid, but I mostly do it because it's fun.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. And when I'm too busy to do it, I don't do it and I miss it. But it's, my plan isn't, okay, what's the next step? What's the next city? What's the next level? Mm-hmm. On a more small scale, it may be, how do I get that bigger local show? Or how do I, bring a comedian in to, do a show that's going to be something new, interesting, and fun or whatnot. It would definitely be, my goals are local, fun, spare time and not have relationships or jobs and things like that suffer because of what I'm doing.
Sure.
Yeah, this is an extra thing for me.
Sure.
And Wichita comedy, there are comedians from Wichita that are currently living in LA or New York and doing comedy and being paid and are maybe not household names, but they're touring comics. They started here. And that or bigger things can happen to you or anyone. It takes lots of hard work. It takes many, many things, and it takes luck. And if that's your dream, whether it be comedy or anything, I think everyone should be working hard to do what makes them happy. If that what makes them happy, go for it. I totally support that. What are those things you need to do? I think any of us in the community can help, push that in the right direction with, the advice or experience that we have. But, I've never been a successful comedian in that regards. I mean, hey, learn how to write jokes, do this, be polite. What's your next level stuff? Getting a manager and stuff like that. You talk to somebody else, I mean, go talk to this guy, he's been successful, go see, and that, knowing what you can teach people and knowing when to push them off to someone that's smarter, better, funnier, or more successful than you is probably a big thing.
Seems like just focusing on the basic fundamentals.
Yeah, fundamentals is the first step for sure. Yeah.
And probably just disciplines, daily
as
disciplines.
You progress as a comedian and perform with different people. I've luckily been able to perform.
Real quick, I think I'd been here like a year, and you're like, oh, I'm going to New York to perform.
Listen, you sometimes get the opportunity to travel. You sometimes get the opportunity to perform with people that are out of your league, or sometimes those things happen. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it's knowing the right people. Sometimes it's someone cancels. That's another thing about going to the Looney Bin or going to these shows or making yourself known. If people know, if you're always ready to go on stage and you have your set ready, you never know when someone's just like, hey, I'll throw you 10 minutes, or hey, someone canceled, can you fill in? And suddenly you're doing a show that, one, you're supporting, which you should be doing anyway. Go to all the shows, go to the open mics. That's what people should do in a small scene like this. If someone's putting on a show, they put in a lot of effort, hard work, and probably a lot of their own money. When people bring comics to town, they're generally reaching lots of money in their pocket to bring them, putting that money at risk, hoping that the tickets sell, and hoping that they can recoup some of that, maybe all of that, maybe make a few bucks. If you're making money at comedy in Wichita, you're doing something really friggin' right, which is difficult. It's difficult now to put butts in seats. There are people right now in comedy in Wichita putting butts in seats like crazy that are doing very, very good.
Yeah.
One person, I'll say it. Yeah, you can say his name.
Kiwan, we're proud of you.
You can't see a Kiwan show and not get that thing sold out. Get your tickets early if you're gonna go see Kiwan, because he'll sell it out. Yeah.
What's his next show?
I don't know. He just had one last night or on the 26th, and another sellout, dude.
Yeah.
That's how he does it.
Yeah.
He's super charismatic and personable. Yeah.
No, Kiwan's a good dude.
I didn't say that. I said he was charismatic. No, he's great.
I've always enjoyed my talks.
As a matter of fact, he was the guy that when I saw he was the guy when I saw his set, at which I was funniest. I saw him just outside of the showroom, and I looked at him. I was like, well, that was a winner. And I did. The whole show, I was like, he was probably going to win that. He had an amazing set. He had the disadvantage of going early as well, but he absolutely crushed. He's hilarious.
Gotcha. But yeah, everyone out there, wherever your path or your journey is with your comedy career, as we all have different goals and whatnot, just keep grinding. Just keep grinding. Because I'm looking back at your resume and stuff, and one thing I want to do is I want to start kind of tackling more the internet, and I see that you've had some memes that have reached over 10 million people.
Yeah. Is this where we bring this up on the screen too? Listen, it's
I'm just going to show the one that's in the Wichita comedy page.
Yeah. Does that have the whole meme, or is it just the picture?
I think just the picture. Do you have access to it? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, yeah, I have access to it. What do I just hold it up to the camera here? I'll tell the story and hold it. This is one of those things where you just kind of get lucky, and walk backwards into. So I was doing a here, I got it right here. Look how close I am to having this. Can you even let me just get it close enough that it can be read? Hold on.
Shoot.
Yeah, this is not probably working because it's more set up for being. So the gist is it says here when you're texting the group chat drunk at 3 a.m, and there's a guy on stage, that's me, in an empty room. Okay, what you can't see circled here, it says 3.8 million. So this is the story behind that. There was 2 shows that night.
It's a very famous picture.
Yeah, it's got way more than that.
Yeah,
but it has other words on it like this is what you look like still making Harambe memes. There's several variations, and if you actually Google search the image, you'll see it in every language imaginable.
Oh my
Practically
God.
hieroglyphics and all sorts of different languages. And you can see like the 3, because 3 is pretty universal. You're like, oh yeah, that's like Hindu, and in the number 3, that's they've got it there too. It's crazy.
Do you remember? You probably don't. When I took that picture and I put King Kong in the audience, it was just King Kong in the audience.
That was you?
Yeah, that was me.
I do remember that. Yeah. So the story behind the story is there was 2 shows that night, and I was at a show earlier, and then I went to another show at Barleycorns, and I was trying to get in there before it ended to see what was going on and see my friends and stuff. The show was already over. They were emptying the place out. Tim Maggard was there, another little comic, and I was like, hey man, can I have 5 minutes? And he's like, yeah, go up. And so as a joke, I walk up on the stage, empty audience, I pick up the microphone, I'm like, hey, so I'm the tall guy with the bald head or whatever joke I opened up with. And he's like, hold on, let me take your picture. And he takes my picture, and I was like, cool, just put it on the page with the other performers like I performed. And then he's like, wait 1 second. And he walks behind me, and he takes that second picture of the empty audience. And it was kind of funny. And I was like, oh yeah, I figured you would send it to our friends, and it would be a joke. Well, next thing I know, another local comedian. So how it came about doesn't really matter. So eventually it becomes a meme with the 2 side-by-side shots. It says, this is how you look like still making Harambe memes. I guess Harambe memes had been going on forever and ever and ever. And that hit. It gets made, and then it gets picked up by major, places like iFunny. This one was Tipsy Bartender. Yeah, you got it right here. Betches, E-Bombs, all these things. When the major ones pick it up and it starts to get distributed and shared and liked, viral can happen very, very quickly. And so within the span of 4 days, I saw that there was a ton of likes and views on these different pages. I hit up the people at Tipsy Bartender, and I was like, hey, this is me. Look at my picture. Here's my profile. That's me in that photo. I'm glad you're using it. I'm glad it's successful. I see how many likes it has. I don't see how many views it has, because that's on their side. They can see the views on their side. Yeah. I was like, for no other reason than my own ego, could you tell me or show me how many views it has? So after 4 days, I send this message out. The guy was like, oh yeah, funny meme. Sends me this screenshot, and it says 3.8 million views. That's Jesus. 4 days. That's one site. So what was it extrapolated between that same time frame and all those other ones, or the time frame from then, a year or whatever, then extrapolate that to all the different countries and languages that it's in? What's the number? I don't effing know, but if at 4 days still on one site it's 3.8 million, that's a lot. Yeah. And it was funny when it came out, I had people locally be like, hey, are you the meme guy?
No way.
Oh yeah. I was like, yeah, that's me. That's weird. But and to me, I think at the time memes were I was just figuring out what the hell a meme was, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in a meme, and I guess that's a thing.
Yeah. Every time I see that picture, I feel like it's snowing outside, and no one came because it's snowing. And then,
no, it was a very successful show, and when it ended, that's why I wanted to get in before it ended, and I just was too late I was performing on another gig, so it just was one of those weird happenstance things.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I don't know, I kind of want to approach the internet and stuff. And like like for me, I see comedy as having a bunch of different tools. There's your live performances. There's the things you do on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And then like film, I want to personally get into like film and whatnot and have kind of like an umbrella strategy where everything's like interconnected.
Yeah, that's great. I think if your talent is performing, I think all those are pretty natural things to do or want to do, or that would help expand your repertoire of performing, learning, these different areas and aspects being on a film set or being on in a commercial or doing, comedy or doing improv or whatnot.
And it seems like just getting in the door, whether it's, cooking food, offering water bottles, holding up something. So just when being ready for just the opportunities, because from your story, it just seems like, you always kind of went just to enjoy it and then good things happen.
Yeah. Be something they want or need. And then if the time comes up that you want or need something, maybe that will come back around, maybe it won't, but I think it's probably always a good sort of way to live your life, kind of be, the guy that is helpful or positive or whatever, and things will come back around.
Certainly. And I'm gonna put you on a spot, all right?
Do it.
So did you know that Dan is actually quite the cook?
I knew that.
He knows that. Did you guys know that?
They maybe, if they follow me on Facebook. Also, I'm Dan the Man Comedy on, I think, most social media platforms. So right now I'm playing around with TikTok. I'm relatively new to that.
You got TikTok?
Yeah.
I got that pretty
Dan the Man
too.
Comedy. Go to TikTok.
I'll have to follow that.
Yeah, I've got a limited amount of videos right now, and I'm experimenting, having fun. And, when you start with like 50 followers and you got like 90, and then you do a video that suddenly gets like, 2,000 views, and you get like, 300 followers, like, oh my God, this is crazy, and that's
you've had that kind of success already on that TikTok.
Is like 300 followers successful?
I'm at like bad. 8 or 16 for a month. So, what's the secret?
I think I'll tell you what it is. We are both unsuccessful at TikTok. Because whether you have 30 or 300, you are nothing, and you're like everyone else. So I mean, doing it because you're having fun and because it's fun to you is where I'm at with it. If I was doing it because I want to try to recreate some like viral, like millions and millions of hits, it probably in most likelihood won't happen. And I would be constantly disappointed. Like, here's another video. It only got, 150 views. This stinks. But when I do a video, I'm like, oh, that was fun. I think that was funny. I think that was creative, or I think that was just, stupid and fun to do. And I go back and I look at these videos and I'm like, oh yeah, that was fun to do. Or I learned something, I'm learning, how to, put text on or add sound or cut things in and out. And, so I'll try a video with a new tool I've learned by, watching or thinking around with it.
I've heard like adding the stickers or text or the sounds and stuff is like there's like an algorithm to it or something.
There's with all social media and stuff, there's algorithms, and you could crack the code if you're smart or get lucky, but generally it's going to be something that is almost accidental in most cases.
Sure.
You're doing something that just suddenly really makes sense in the world environment or something like that, and it just clicks. And probably a lot of people fall into. There's a lot of people that professionally do TikTok, and they have managers and they have writers. Not all of these people you see on TikTok are doing this by themselves. They have a team.
Sure. Oh, really interesting.
They're the very successful people on TikTok are full time. They're making lots of money, and they almost certainly have people, many of them, assisting them, helping, lighting, writing. And does that apply to everyone? No, but you don't get the kind of followers and the kind of money without that being important enough to hire people to make that continue. Sure,
making that small investment to really grow yourself. But TikTok food, do you post your food stuff on TikTok?
I have a couple times.
Like Rachel Ray.
I like to cook. That's very broad.
meats and cheeses?
I am a smoker. Among other things, I like to smoke meats, cheeses, foods, desserts.
Cigarettes, weed. No.
What I like to smoke is non-traditional sort of food things. So if you have a smoker, you've probably smoked ribs, you've probably smoked pulled pork and stuff. But like outside of that, I like to smoke things that I can incorporate into other dishes that maybe wouldn't necessarily be smoked. So what's your favorite food? What dish or whatever?
Pizza or Philly cheesesteaks?
All right, pizza. Say if I was going to make pizza or a Philly cheesesteak. I'll go Philly cheesesteak. This is a very good example because I'm a big Philly cheesesteak guy, a huge Philly cheesesteak guy. So a Philly cheesesteak is cooked hot and fast on a grill, not low and slow in a smoker, right? So what I would do is I would use a smoked cheese, a cheese that I've smoked, and I would shred that up, and I would put that onto the cheesesteak. And now when you're eating this cheesesteak, you have the wonderful, beautiful flavors of your grilled cheesesteak, that bread, but now you have this layer of smoky cheese flavor in there, and you have what I would call a smoked cheesesteak. Now, did you just smoke the whole thing? No, but it has a smoked flavor. It's because of that element that you put into it, and it is more impressive and better. So say if you're using smoked cheese, what could you use that with? Anything you do cheese with. I make scrambled eggs in the morning. I put smoked cheese in it. It tastes amazing. Say if you're making tacos, boom, 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 suddenly you have smoked tacos. Chili, super good when you mix in some smoky cheese and you're getting smoky goodness. So I will do smoked ground hamburger, smoked ground Italian sausage, and I can now mix that into sloppy joes. A smoked sloppy joe? What the hell? I never would have thought something so like basic could be like so like next level yummy with a smoked flavor. Yeah. And you incorporate these different elements.
It's like infusions
into it. Yeah. So now you have something has that delicious smoke flavor because you thought ahead and smoked 20 pounds of cheese or 20 pounds of other sorts of meats. It's not just like, here's ribs, I smoked the whole thing. I mean, that's one aspect of smoking. But I do like to cook. I like to bake, I like to cook, I like to smoke other things. I made recently, so I smoke, one of the things I like to do is I smoke water, okay?
That's possible?
It is completely possible. And water goes into a lot of things. So I made a smoked coffee using smoked water as opposed to smoking the bean. It came out amazing. And I used that same water sort of idea to make a smoked apple cider, which was super freaking good. And now being wintertime, to have something that's like smells like a campfire and tastes like apples, it's just really, and you throw a little booze in there. I mean, it just really hits the spot. And it's kind of impressive when people are like, if they come over your house, I'll have a drink. What'd you like? I'll make you a smoked white Russian. They're like, a smoked white Russian? What's that? Oh, let me show you. Yeah. I got some smoked ice cubes here, and I throw them in your drink with a little mixy, and they're like, I've never had anything like this.
It'd be like Bill Nye the Science Guy. For like, you gotta have your own food channel and stuff.
I did do I was on a short YouTube series with another comedian, Katie Getty, called The Vegan Virago, where she cooked vegan foods. I was like her sidekick. And, I was she was the chef, and I'm like the dumb sidekick. Oh, you're making a vegan cheese. Oh, how does that work? Tell me about it, Katie. So, those little fun things that you do where it's you and a friend and, another comedian holding a camera, just to make content, just to do something,
content
just to,
curating.
Learn, like, or to, have that different aspect. I've done stand-up comedy. Okay. Now I'm going to try, do some improv and try some, some open invite improv nights. Or now I'm going to try to, film something just to get that experience and get those reps, or just to try something different, or just to to have fun, it's fun to do. Is the final product something that will be on the Food Network? No, but was it
alive though?
Was it fun? Was it creative? Could you show this to someone that didn't know how to make vegan cheese and they could make it? Yeah. Would they laugh when they watched it? Hopefully, they would. Yeah. And just kind of doing that to have fun and live life and stuff is why I like to do those things.
All right, we're gonna wrap up pretty shortly.
You're kidding me! I got like another 2 hours of material. Where's that piece of paper? What have we not gone over?
Okay, you look at that, but I'm gonna ask a question.
Go for it.
So we've seen you in a Super Bowl commercial with a shirt that says "Dan the Man." You're a famous, successful comic, and you're a pretty damn good cook. Have you ever thought about having like a Dan the Man show where like you're selling your merch, you're hosting the show, and people are eating your food?
I have, and that is in the works.
It is in the works.
It's yeah.
Is it top secret, or can you?
Well, it was going to be this fall, but COVID. I got all the groundwork laid for this.
Right.
Yeah.
What other elements would there be besides merch, food, comedy? Is there another like Dan the Man feature that we don't know that would be part of the show?
That pretty much covers the main aspects of it. You will get smoked food, possibly even a smoked drink. Comedy, nice, visually pleasing setting.
Is that your backyard?
You never know.
You never know.
Who knows?
Not giving out the address.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give out Mike's address. He lives at 1422 South Westview Drive in Derby, Kansas. Oh, yep. The ladies are at the door right now. He does not live at that address. So if you go and egg that house, those people are going to be really mad. What time are we at? How many minutes are we in this?
It doesn't have the thing. I know you got here at 12:30. It's 2:34. I would say we're.
Wow, we probably have a long one. We'll have to do 2 or 3 more episodes to go over some cool stuff. What's your birthday?
11/27/1990.
11/27. I used to sell Beanie Babies, okay? I used to be big into the Beanie Baby circuit, and one of the ways I developed my sales tactics was to learn what someone likes. Or what their birthday is, because each beanie has a birthday. So you said yours is November 27th?
Yes.
So your beanie is Gobbles the Turkey. Did you know that, or did you just learn that?
I didn't know that, but I had a turkey Beanie Baby, so
okay, that makes sense. So Gobbles the Turkey. It's a little turkey. There you go. And then I would talk you into buying that. That's a good sales tactic. I can't believe we didn't go over Beanie Babies. Yeah. The Beanie Baby story is deep. 2-year endeavor with that. That's a little sneak peek for the next episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to
Black market beanies. That's what it was. It was a tale of intrigue and borderline illegality. Yeah.
Did you know Pokemon cards, those are making a come up on prices right now.
Yeah, you can get Eric on the show to talk about Pokemon.
I can't fucking find my cards. I'm pissed.
Yeah. Guitar Hero Champion? How do we not cover this? This is a whole nother show. That's right. Extreme Couponer? Yeah, we have to come back together.
So, guys, in the next episode, we are going to be talking about, go for it.
Extreme Couponing! Selling Beanie Babies for money in the late 90s. And Guitar Hero Championships. That and a whole lot more.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, make sure to be tuning in weekly to Airwaves, the Myke Alcaraz Podcast. It's been real fun, Dan the Man.
It has been really, really fun.
Thanks for coming out.
And check me out on TikTok at Dan the Man Comedy. Be my follower. I could use a few more than the 292 I currently have.
Do you have an Instagram, or are you just focused on TikTok?
Dan the Man Comedy, I think, on all social media platforms.
Dan the Man Comedy.
That's right.
All social media platforms. Good dude. Good friend. Thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah. That's how we do it.
That's how we do it. All right. And boom. And